There's a microphone right in front of you, so if you could try to, as best as you can, speak to that microphone.
Okay.
Okay. Can you please tell us your full name and how you spell it for the court reporter?
Frank, F-R-A-N-K, Mebane, M-E-B-A-N-E, the third.
And Mr. Mebane, if at any time you don't understand a question, please just let me know and I'll try to stop and rephrase it for you, okay?
Okay.
Mr. Mebane, do you work right now?
No, I'm retired.
Okay. What did you do before you retired?
A lot of different things.
Okay.
Do you want to know all of them?
What was the last one?
The last one. I was a financial advisor
Okay.
for 6 years.
Okay. And before that?
I was a minister for 22 years.
Okay. And as a minister, was that in addition or was that your primary job?
That was my primary job.
Okay. And in those two professions, you've now stopped doing those, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. As a full-time work is what I mean, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And are you currently married?
Yes, I am.
Who are you married to?
Betsy.
And how long were you two married? Or have you been married?
47 and a half years.
Okay. Do you have children?
Yes, we do.
How many children?
We have 3.
What are their names?
Mindi, Frank IV, and Matthew.
Okay. Oldest to youngest?
Yes.
Okay. And are you close to your kids?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Do any of them still live with you now? Or have they moved out?
They moved out.
Okay. Matthew being the youngest, he's also already out of the household now?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Is there a time when you met Nicholas James Kassotis?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell us how you met him?
Our daughter, Mindi, introduced us to him.
Okay. And did they ultimately get married?
Yes, they did.
Do you remember where they were living when they got married?
In Mount Vernon, Virginia.
Okay. Did you visit them there?
Yes.
And when you visited them there, do you recall, was that a house or was it an apartment? What kind of a place was it?
It was a house.
Okay. Do you know who owned the house?
I believed it was Nick.
Okay. And she moved in with him to his house?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what happened to that house?
Not exactly, no.
Okay. At some point, did they ever move out of that house?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And what was Mindi doing, if you know, for a living while she was living up in Virginia?
Well, she graduated with a master's in public service or something like that. And she was working for different, like, nonprofit.
Okay.
I think it was the last one. Or I know the name was KKR.
Okay. And at that point, do you know what Mr. Kassotis was doing for a living?
He was in the Navy, worked at the Pentagon.
Do you know what his title was in the Navy at the Pentagon?
You mean his rank?
If you know his rank.
No, I know he worked for JAG.
Okay. Do you know if he was an attorney?
Yes.
Okay. And when he was in the JAG in what branch of the service, you said?
Navy.
Do you know if he remained in the Navy after they got married?
I believe so, but I'm not sure exactly when he left or not.
Okay, so you know at some point he did leave, you just don't recall exactly when?
Correct.
Okay, and when they got married, he was in the Navy at that point?
I believe so.
Okay. Did there come a time when you and your wife started to live with any of your kids?
Yes.
Who did you live with?
We lived with Frank IV and his wife.
Okay. That would be Mindy's younger brother?
Yes.
Okay. And where did you live with them?
In Hilton Head.
South Carolina?
South Carolina.
Okay. Where are you from originally?
Florida.
Okay. And by way of Florida, you wound up in South Carolina with them?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know approximately when you moved in with Frank and Megan? If you know.
Around 2016, I believe.
Okay. And at that point, did you stay with them for quite a while?
Yes.
did there come a time, well, let me back up for a second. Why were you living with them?
Well, my wife had been laid off from her job in Augusta, and I was still working as a financial advisor, and she was laid off, and she came down to Savannah and got a job the next day.
Oh.
And so she started living with them, and then that's when we decided we would move in with them.
Okay. So was she working in Savannah then?
Yes.
Did that make it more convenient?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And being a financial advisor, did that allow you some more flexibility?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And you said that...
Just also curious, Judge, how a man who's in JAG, and you know, you've been to law school, the people who ended up in JAG were your top students.
Absolutely.
They don't take but top people, so obviously very bright. It boggles my mind that this happened. Was it a mental issue? Was he planning it all along?
I don't know, and thinking the Pentagon, the security that's necessary to get to that level, it is surprising and a fascinating case.
Yeah, really fascinating. All right, we're going to take a break here, folks. When we come back, we'll hear more from the victim's father. So keep it here on Court TV, your front row seat to justice.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Ashley Wilcott here with Michael Ayala, and we are in South Georgia this afternoon for the dismembered wife murder trial. Former naval officer Mindi Kassotis is charged with murder in the November 2022 death of his wife, Mindi.
Now, hunters found her dismembered remains in multiple locations in a rural area about an hour south of Savannah, Georgia. Now, Kassotis says that he didn't do it, and the defense is pointing the finger at a mystery man who they say controlled the movements of the couple. All right, we'll get you back inside the courtroom now. We're listening to the victim's father. He's on direct examination by the state, and in many ways, he's going to be talking, I would imagine, like his wife did, about some of the things that Mindi Kassotis was telling them about this mystery man.
You said that was in Hilton Head, is that right?
Yes.
When you were living with Frank and Megan, at any point did any of your other kids move in?
Yes.
Who moved in?
Mindy and Nick. And
Okay.
of course, Matthew was with us because he was in high school.
Okay, so for a while there, it was Mindy, Nick, Matthew, you and your wife living with Frank and Megan?
Matthew wasn't there. By that time, we had moved.
Okay, so at some point there were some overlap.
Yes.
Okay, and do you recall, you said, I believe you moved in with them in approximately 2016, meaning Frank and Megan.
Correct.
Do you recall when Mr. Kassotis and your daughter Mindy moved in with them? If you recall.
It had to be 2022.
Okay, and at some point, can you tell us, were you living there with Frank and Megan the whole time that Mr. Kassotis and Mindy were there?
No.
Okay. Was there a period of time that you moved out of that location?
Yes, Matthew and I moved to Dublin, Georgia.
Okay. Why did you go up to Dublin, Georgia?
Because he was going to be a senior in high school, and he played baseball. And with the COVID, they weren't going to play baseball in Hilton Head, but they were going to play in Dublin, Georgia. And
Okay.
so we moved to Dublin so he could play.
Okay. When you say we, who moved up to Dublin?
Matthew and I did.
Okay. And where did Mrs. Betsy stay?
She stayed with Frank IV and Megan at their house in Hilton
Okay.
Head.
Okay. And do you recall how long you were up in Dublin with Matthew?
I had a lease for at least a year, so I think it might have been 13 months.
Okay. At some point, did you come back down from Dublin?
Yes.
And did Matthew join you?
No, he was in, by that time he had already started college, junior college.
Okay. So Matthew heads off to college, and you moved back down to Hilton Head, is that right?
Correct.
Who was living with you when you got back down to Hilton Head after Matthew went off to college?
Frank IV, his wife Megan, their little girl Harper, and Mindy and Nick.
Okay. Was your wife there too?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. So at that point, were there any pets in the house?
Yes.
What pets?
They had Rusty. Mindi and Nick had Rusty.
Okay. Did there come a time when you left that residence? Meaning the one in Hilton Head with Frank and Megan?
You mean after I came back from Dublin?
After you came back from Dublin, you said you stayed there for a while.
Correct.
Do you know how
Yes.
long that was, approximately?
With all of us there?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 5 months, 6 months,
Okay. And at
maybe
some...
a little bit longer than that.
Okay. So at some point, you said it was about 5, 6 months, maybe a little bit longer. You're in Hilton Head with Frank and Megan. Is that right? Okay. And Mindi and Mr. Kassotis are there too? You and your wife?
Correct.
Okay. What caused you to leave?
Well, I took Matthew, the younger son, to play baseball in Illinois for the summer.
Okay.
And when I was up there with him, that's when Mindi and Nick moved out of their house, and I came back, they were gone.
Okay. Do you know where Mindi and Mr. Kassotis moved to when they left Frank IV and Megan's place in Hilton Head?
At first, they moved to a hotel that my wife got for them.
Okay. And did they go anywhere after that, if you know?
They went to another hotel, and then we went to 65th Street in Savannah.
Okay. Now, there sounds like there was a fair amount of moving going on. Is that right?
Correct.
Do you know how the belongings got moved when people were moving about?
I know Mindi and Nick had tubs, big
What-
black tubs,
What kind of tubs were they? Can you describe them for me?
like big tubs that you put stuff in for like Christmas decorations, you know, big, I don't know how big, I mean, they were big tubs.
Okay, and you're making some gestures with your hand, approximately
sorry.
as wide as my hands are. Is that correct?
Correct.
Would it be
I'm
fair to
sorry.
say about 3 to 4 feet?
Yes,
Okay, and they were tall and deep,
yes,
and that's about maybe 2 or 3 feet.
correct,
Okay, and they would move their belongings in those tubs. Is that right?
yes,
So there was not a moving company, was there?
no,
Okay, and not moving boxes, but rather these tubs.
correct.
Okay.
I don't know, Michael. It seems to me that if they really had a security company working for them, protecting them, they could also afford a moving company to move them. But I digress. I want to bring in criminal defense attorney Phil Harvey. Phil, listen, the big black tubs. At first I said, why are they, Michael, having this parent now also talk about Hilton Head and who they lived with? Well, now he's talking about they would move in these tubs. And a reminder to our viewers that there's already been testimony about tubs being found that is connected to the crime scene. So how does this help the prosecution?
Well, I think you hit it, Judge Ashley, in that if they can afford a security team, or if they're having a security team provided for them, you'd think they'd have some movers. And so remember, in the opening statements, the prosecution were alleging that they were moving around to try to get away from one of Mr. Kassotis's former divorce judgments. And the defense made a reference to this mysterious Jim McIntyre that was pursuing them or controlling them. And so the prosecution, I believe, not only do they need to bring the tubs in for possibly for the purposes of suggesting or at least arguing that Mr. Kassotis had tubs available to him, but also to paint the picture more fully that this idea of a mystery debtor is just not as plausible as a divorce judgment.
Now, you mentioned the name Jim McIntyre. So did the defense in their opening statement. They said Jim McIntyre. Do they not have to have some proof that this guy exists? I can't see it being enough for Nicholas Kassotis to take the stand and talk about what happened. And we were, communicating over these, encrypted apps, so there's no evidence. They've got to have some concrete evidence that someone existed by this name. Now, his real name might not be Jim McIntyre, but that there's someone out there that existed that was causing them all this fear.
Well, Michael, they don't have to have any evidence other than Mr. Kassotis' testimony. And in fact, after the prosecution's opening, the defense did argue that the prosecution's case is purely circumstantial. But in just about every state in the United States, a jury is going to hear that circumstantial evidence, if believed, is to be given equal weight as direct evidence. So if the jury believes the circumstantial evidence of the prosecution, they can make the inferences if they believe beyond a reasonable doubt that they suggest that Mr. Kassotis was the perpetrator. By the same token, if Mr. Kassotis testifies that there was an individual out there that was pursuing them, that he had to protect himself and his wife from, it's just simply a matter of whether or not the jury believes it.
Yeah, and he has to testify, right? Because if you're going to tell, you know, again, opening statements is not evidence, but if you're going to tell the jury that there's this Jim McIntyre guy, they're going to want to hear who Jim McIntyre is. I want to hear who Jim McIntyre is and what he was doing.
Right.
The only person who could do that, because it was also secret, will be the defendant.
Yeah, I agree with you. You're right. We have to hear from him. So it's going to be interesting. And
Absolutely.
These parents are salt of the earth by all accounts. And
just
hearing
nice
he was a
people.
minister, just nice people. So what we're going to do is squeeze in a break here. When we come back, of course, we'll get you back in to hear more from the victim's father. Stay tuned.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, a brutal quadruple murder that led to an intense manhunt and an arrest of a convicted felon. We'll bring you reaction from today's arraignment.
Closing Arguments, tonight at 8, 7 Central, only on Court TV.
Back now to the dismembered wife murder trial in Georgia. We'll get there in just a moment, though. But first, we have an update out of Montana, where a jury is now deciding the fate of Jordan Palmer in the return mail murder trial.
Palmer is claiming self-defense after shooting and killing his neighbor, Stephen Campbell. Prosecutors say it happened during a fight as Palmer was trying to return a piece of lost mail.
Earlier today, jurors heard closing arguments from both sides. And during the state's rebuttal argument, they used a mannequin with approximated trajectory rods to demonstrate how the victim was shot. Take a look.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you are in luck to almost be done listening to my voice for the entirety of this trial. You also won't get to bring this back with you, so I wanted you to have one more chance to look at the angles that Mr. Kemp pointed out in terms of the entry points being indicated by the colored portion of the rods, as well as where the different projectiles were located with the safety pins or safety pins, push pins. Here in the back as well. And although you won't have...
And that is the same mannequin that the medical examiner did use during the course of his testimony.
Yes,
She's now bringing it back up in the closing. Effective visual aid. We're going to get you inside the courtroom, of course. Once there's a verdict or if the jury has a question, you can see the clock is up. They've now been deliberating 45 minutes. We will also play back some of the biggest moments from those closing arguments later today.
All right, welcome back. We're going to go now to Georgia for day 3 of the dismembered wife murder trial for defendant Nicholas Kassotis.
Prosecutors say that Kassotis killed and dismembered his wife, Mindi Kassotis, back in 2022. He did plead not guilty, and he is pointing the finger at a mystery man. Let's go back into court together now. We're picking back up with the victim's father. He is still on the stand under direct examination by the prosecutors.
Now, when you moved from Hilton Head, you said down to Savannah, did there ever come a time when you left the hotels and wound up in a more permanent type of place?
Yes, that was at a house on 65th Street.
Okay, and how did you come to be at that location, the house?
Mindy and Nick found it, and I went over and loaded them up from the hotel and moved them into the house.
Did they have a car at the time?
No.
Okay, and you said you loaded them up. Did they have tubs at that time too?
Yes.
And
along with Rusty, I'm sorry.
okay, so they didn't leave Rusty behind, right?
No.
Okay, so do you know if Mr. Kassotis was working at that point?
Yes, I thought he was.
What did you think he was
doing? He was
doing?
on his computer,
Okay,
working long hours.
okay. Did he tell you what his work involved?
Not exactly, no.
Okay.
We knew he was working on something that was secretive.
Okay. Did he tell you that?
Both Mindi and Nick did, yes.
Okay. Did you ever see what was on his computer screen when he was working?
No.
Did you look?
No, because I knew I wasn't supposed to.
Okay. When you say you weren't supposed to, who told you that you weren't supposed to?
I just knew that it was secretive, and maybe that's my background. I'm not inquisitive.
Okay. And at that point, that was at the house in Savannah?
Yes.
Okay. Was Mindi working?
No.
Do you know why not?
No. Health-wise, she couldn't work, but also that there was a way for her to work. I mean, she didn't have a computer, and she was at the house the whole time, so there really was no way to work.
Okay. Had you ever heard any information concerning their safety being at risk, that being Mr. Kassotis and Mindi?
Oh, yes, all the time.
Tell us about that. What happened?
Well, it was way back before they even moved out of Virginia. We were told that they had people who were after them, and that they had to be very careful what they were doing and where they were moving, and you had to be cognizant of everything that was around you at the time to make sure that nothing was, no one was following us or anything like that.
Was Mindi afraid?
Oh, yes.
Did you believe she was afraid?
Yes, very much.
Okay. And when she was at the house in Savannah, did she go out much?
I never saw her outside.
Okay. What about Mr. Kassotis? Did he go out?
He would go out at night or go out in the backyard to brush Rusty, but that was about it.
Did he have friends over?
No.
Did you have any company that ever came over to the house?
No.
Now, did you ever hear reference to a security team?
Oh, yes, all the time.
Tell the jury what you heard. What was told to you?
Well, they told us that there was a security team that was caring for them, but they would have to get everything approved by the security team before we could, if we had any questions about what was going on, they would have to ask the security team and come back with their answers. And then if we were moving, they would have to check with the security team to let us know if it was okay if I came back to the house. So it was all the time.
Would that be daily?
Oh, yes.
Do you know where the money was coming from to pay for everything?
I thought it was the security team.
Okay. So you and your wife were not paying for it?
Just like I said, when they first moved out of the house in Hilton Head, my wife paid for hotel for a while, and we would buy groceries and things like that, but that was about it.
Okay. And at that point, was your wife still working during the day?
Oh, yes.
Do you know where she was working?
Hunter McLean Law Firm.
Okay. And do you know what she did for them?
I think they call him an administrative assistant now.
Okay. And in that capacity, would she go to work Monday through Friday?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Do you know what time she would leave in the morning for work?
I would take her to work about 8:30.
Okay. And then what time would she get home?
5:30.
How'd she get home?
I picked her up.
So you drive her to and from work every day?
Yes.
Okay. Were you working yourself at that point?
No, not by the time we were there.
Okay. Was anyone else home during the day with you? Meaning anybody who lived there?
Oh, Mindi and Nick were always there with Rusty.
Okay. Now, did there come a time when there was a mention of Microsoft?
Yes, that was way back when when we were told that he left the Navy.
Thank you to Phil Harvey for joining us this hour.
Folks, stick around. Coming up, more testimony from the victim's father in the dismembered wife murder trial. So keep it here on Court TV, your front row seat to justice.
Did there come a time when something occurred to make you believe that there was a change in their marriage condition?
Yes, when they actually were sort of hiding out because we were told they feared for their lives.
Who told you that?
Mindi and Nick.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Michael Ayala.
And I'm Judge Ashley Wilcott. Before we head back into that courtroom, we are in verdict watch in the returned mail murder trial of Jordan Palmer. The jury has now been deliberating for just under 1 hour. We have the clock up for you to see. They will decide if Palmer is guilty of deliberate homicide in the shooting death of his neighbor, Stephen Campbell, in April of last year. Palmer is claiming self-defense, but he chose not to testify.
Now, he told police that he shot Campbell after Campbell threatened him and took a swing at him after he was putting a piece of mail that he found on the ground in the correct mailbox. Of course, we will continue to monitor those deliberations. We'll bring you the verdict or any questions that the jurors may have once it is reached.
And now let's head back to Georgia for the dismembered wife murder trial of Mindi Kassotis. He is accused of killing his wife, Mindi, back in November of 2022 and then spreading her remains in several areas in South Georgia.
Hunters found some of the remains in December of that same year. Officials identified the victim months later through genetic genealogy and then arrested Kassotis, who was actually living in Pennsylvania at the time under a different name.
During testimony today, Mindi's mother testified that Mindi and Kassotis told her back in 2018 they were in fear for their lives and then that they began moving from place to place.
All right, let's head back to court now where Mindi's father still on the stand on direct examination.
They left the Navy. They were working on something for Microsoft, and that's why there was somebody, they needed a security team to protect them.
So Mr. Kassotis needed a security team because he was working for Microsoft on something secret?
Correct.
Okay. And at that point, that started, you said, back in Virginia?
Correct.
Okay, so this happened back in, do you know what year that was approximately? If you know.
I don't recall exactly when that was.
Okay, but it was while they were still in Virginia?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever see any work product from Microsoft from him?
No.
Did he ever show you any paperwork from Microsoft?
No.
Did he ever show you any computer software?
No.
So, during the day while Mr. Kassotis worked from the house, what did you do?
Well, after I took my wife to work, I was told to, I'd come back, take a shower, and then when I would leave for lunch, sometimes to go to lunch with her, other times to go just to lunch, but I couldn't come back until 3 o'clock or a little after, and I'd have to call and check and make sure that security was okay for me to come back.
Who told you that you weren't allowed to be in the house?
Mindi and Nick.
So they told you had to leave the house?
Correct.
How often did you have to leave the house?
Every day.
From when to when?
Usually right before lunch until after 3 o'clock or so.
Okay. And how did you know that it was okay to come home?
I would send a message on the Signal app and ask if it was okay if I could come home.
And who would you send that message to?
To Nick.
I saw you just nod. Do you see him here today?
Yes, right over there.
If the record can reflect, he's pointed to the defendant.
And it does.
Had you ever used Signal app before?
No.
How did you learn of Signal app?
I believe it was Mindi who showed me how to even download it and how to use it.
Okay. And on Signal app, just so we're clear, is that a texting or a voice communication?
Texting.
Text. Okay. And so you would send the messages to Mr. Kassotis by way of that phone app?
Correct.
And would he then indicate whether or not it was okay for you to return to the residence?
Yes.
How long after they were married did they start moving around? Do you know? Approximately.
I couldn't tell you exactly, but it wasn't very long.
Okay. But it was after they were married?
Yes.
Okay. Did you believe them when they told you that they were in danger?
Oh, yes.
Did there come a time when you started to doubt that?
I always had questions. That's kind of like what I was saying before about the security team. And I would ask questions and, like what's going on with different things. And then they would come back and say, the security team said, we can't answer that.
Okay. Did there come a time when you ultimately left the Savannah residence?
Yes.
And where did you wind up staying at that point?
Betsy and I moved to a condo in Hilton Head.
Okay. And I'm jumping ahead for just a moment. Was there any specific way that you had to get into that unit, that facility for the condos? How did you get into the building complex?
They had a security gate that you had to get approval, like a pass to get in.
Okay. And when you ultimately moved to that residence, did you have to provide that pass to somebody?
Yes, there was a security guard when you drove in.
Okay. Did you ever have any visitors at that location?
Matthew came and visited us.
Did he have to get a parking pass also?
Yes.
What was the name that the residence was reserved under for the parking pass?
Mindi Kassotis.
So at that point, did that give you suspicions?
Yes, we had suspicions, but we were told that, we would get all the answers at some point in time.
Okay, so let's go back. You're at the house in Savannah. Did Mr. Kassotis and your daughter ever talk to you about a change of name?
Yes.
What did she tell you specifically?
She told us that his name was going to be changed to Nicholas Stark.
Did she tell you why?
For security reasons.
Okay. And that name, Nicholas Stark, did he start using it?
Yes, he even got like a bag, like a briefcase like thing that had Stark on it.
Okay.
I remember that.
Did you ever receive any mail that said the name Nicholas Stark?
I never saw any.
Okay. What about Amazon packages? Did you ever receive any of those at the house?
Yes, they got plenty of packages.
Okay. And was there anything of note that was received in those packages to you? Anything that drew your attention?
Well, they got some clothes for like Mindi that she really hadn't had any clothes in quite a long time.
Okay.
Like I said, the briefcase, other things I don't remember exactly.
Okay, but you saw some things with the name Stark on them?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever meet anyone from the security team?
No.
Did you ever meet any of his coworkers, Mr. Kassotis?
Once he left the Navy, no.
Did you ever meet any of his employers once he left the Navy?
No.
What about his father? Had you ever met his father?
I met him at the wedding.
Okay. And did there come a time when there was an incident while you were in Savannah concerning his father?
Yes. Most weekends, Betsy and I would go off for the weekend, a lot of times to watch Matthew play baseball or whatever, and we would try to give them time away from us. So we would go off and come back on a Sunday afternoon, and one Sunday we came back and they told us that his father and his uncle had come to the house and were knocking on the door.
Okay.
And they were really upset.
Okay. Did he indicate to you what had happened as a result of that incident? Did Mindi tell you?
Yes, she told me that he was crawling on the floor to the back of the house, so they couldn't see in the windows and couldn't see him.
Okay. Do you know if the police were contacted?
I heard later that a police report was filed.
Okay. Did you move after that?
No.
Did Mindi move?
No.
Did Mr. Kassotis move?
No.
Did they beef up security with people out front?
No.
Were cameras installed?
Yes, there was a camera installed that was in the kitchen that would shoot down the driveway.
Who put that camera in?
Nick did.
Did you ever see any footage off that camera?
No.
Do you know where Mindi was? Did she tell you where she was when this incident happened with Mr. Kassotis' father and uncle?
She was in their bedroom, I believe.
Was she afraid?
Yes.
Now, once Mr. Kassotis advised you that, or rather, withdrawn, once your daughter advised you that this incident had happened, were measures taken to protect your wife from going to and from work?
No.
Did anything change at all?
No.
Now, when you were at the house, how many bedrooms were there?
2 bedrooms.
Okay. What type of a house is this? A 1-story or a 2-story?
1 story.
Okay. Are there steps to get into the house?
Yes.
Are there railings to walk up to get into the house, up the steps, if you recall?
I don't recall.
Okay.
I don't believe so.
Okay. Well, when you got to that location, did there come a time when you had to have surgery of some kind?
I had hip replacement, yes.
Okay. Can you tell the jury what happened that prompted you to have that surgery?
Well, I hurt my left knee shagging fly balls for my son, and I didn't get my knee fixed, and it got to the point where it hurt my left hip, and I finally had to get hip replacement surgery.
Okay. Do you remember when that was?
November of 2022.
Okay. And where did you go for the surgery?
St. Joseph's Hospital.
Okay. Is that in Savannah?
That's in Savannah on Abercorn.
Okay. And when you went to that surgery, were you alone? How did you get there?
Betsy took me.
Okay. When she took you to the surgery, did you stay overnight or did you come home that day?
I stayed overnight, yes.
So would it be fair to say you returned on what date?
December the 1st, I believe.
Okay. You came home the next day?
Yes.
When you came home the next day, where did you go from that location, meaning from the hospital?
To the back to the house on 65th Street.
How did you, when you arrived at 65th Street, what happened?
Nick came out, helped me up the stairs. They were big, tall stairs, and really took care of me the rest of that day because Betsy went back to work.
Okay. And at that point, did you see Mindi at the house when you were there on November 30th?
No.
Okay. Can you tell us, where were you for Thanksgiving?
You know, these are just salt-of-the-earth people
Yes.
who have no reason to think that this guy is lying to them, and they're believing in this man. It's just so sad.
It is sad because I feel like they have a paranoid person in their midst.
Yeah,
All
dangerous,
right.
obviously dangerous.
Yes, allegedly. All right, we need to pause it right there for a break. When we return, the victim's father testifies about the last time that he saw his daughter alive and said her health was not good.
Also, the man arrested in connection with a quadruple homicide and kidnapping in Tennessee was in court today, and it seems that he's ready for a speedy trial. We'll tell you about that when we come back. Keep it here on your front row seat to justice.
Matriarch of the Adelson family gets arrested.
Terrible.
Donna Adelson is facing charges of murder, the death of her former son-in-law, Dan Markell.
Prosecutors say a bitter child custody battle was the motive for the murder-for-hire plot. Now that Donna has turned into a defendant, what's next for the Adelson clan?
Now that the ship is really sinking fast, blood doesn't matter that much.
The Matriarch Mastermind Murder Trial. Live coverage begins August 19th, only on Court TV.
We're going to get you back to court in just a moment, but first we have new developments in the quadruple murder and baby kidnapping case out of Tennessee. Defendant Austin Drummond made his first appearance before a judge this morning. He appeared via video from jail and was flanked by several law enforcement officers.
The judge read the charges against him for the July 29th murders of 38-year-old Courtney Rose, her son, 15-year-old Braden Williams, her daughter, 20-year-old Adriana Williams, and Williams' boyfriend, 21-year-old James Wilson. Drummond is also charged with kidnapping Ariana and James's 7-month-old daughter and leaving her abandoned on a stranger's front lawn. Thankfully, that baby is safe. After that, the district attorney announced plans to seek the death penalty.
At this time, the state intends to seek the death penalty. So this is a capital case. We're asking that he be held without bond. In addition to that, he has a bond out of circuit court. We have filed motions to revoke those bonds. That will be heard later in the month of August in circuit court.
Now, Drummond is being held without bond. The judge entered a not guilty plea on his behalf because he didn't have an attorney at the time, and then he declared that he was indigent and appointed a public defender to represent him. Drummond also had a question for the judge.
As long as it's not related to the facts of your case or anything that could infringe on your Fifth Amendment rights, I'm fine with that, sir.
I'm just wondering, is now the time I need to ask for a quick and speedy trial?
Well, now that I've appointed you counsel, any motions that will be filed will go through your attorney, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay.
After a week-long manhunt, Drummond was captured in Jackson, Tennessee, after receiving a tip from a resident. 3 other people have also been charged with accessory after the fact for helping him. Drummond is scheduled to be back in court on August 14th.
All right, let's head back now to Georgia, where the father of the victim in the dismembered wife murder trial continues with his direct examination.
Matthew and his friend had come in. This was one of those weekends where we tried to give them privacy. So we rented a condo in Hilton Head because Matthew and his friend were working at a restaurant. They had a big Thanksgiving promotion they did with fried turkeys and all that, and they worked long hours. And so we went over there and got a condo so they would have somewhere to stay and we stayed there for the whole weekend.
Okay. Do you remember what day you left for Hilton Head?
That was on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Okay. And specifically on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, do you recall when the last time you saw Mindi was before you left for Thanksgiving?
Probably the day before, or maybe a few days before that.
Okay. So in the days leading up to you leaving, you saw her?
Yes.
Where was she?
She was in the bedroom, but also one time she was coming out of the bedroom going to the bathroom.
Okay. So you saw her in the house itself?
Yes.
Okay. And at that point, what did you think her condition was, her health condition?
She looked really bad. I mean, looked like they told us that she had high blood pressure and she looked like she was sick.
Okay. And at that point, did you leave to go for Hilton Head?
Yes.
Okay. And when you left to go for Hilton Head, when did you come back? What day?
The Sunday afternoon.
Okay. And when you came back on the Sunday afternoon, did you see Mindi?
No.
Where did you think she was?
Nick told us that she was in the hospital. They were trying to regulate her blood pressure.
And did you ever speak with her?
No.
Did you ever see her at the hospital?
No.
Did he tell you which hospital?
No. We just assumed that she was at the military hospital right there in Savannah.
Why did you assume that?
Because he was retired Navy.
Okay. And at that point, did you know whether or not they were expecting a child?
Yes, they told us she was expecting.
Okay. And did you have any belief as to whether or not it was a boy or a girl?
I recall them telling us it was going to be a girl.
Okay. And did you know when she was supposed to be due, if you knew?
I believe it was January 8th.
Okay. So would it be fair to say that the last time you saw her was at the time period right before you left for Thanksgiving, correct?
Correct.
Okay. At that point, did she appear to be pregnant to you?
She could have been, yes.
Okay. Without sounding unkind, had she put on some weight? What makes you think that she could have been pregnant?
Well, I've seen a lot of people who have been pregnant that didn't look pregnant. And
Okay.
so she wasn't really skinny to start off with, so it was believable.
Okay. So when she told you that, you simply believed her?
Yes.
Okay. And when you came back to the house, you said from the surgery, you said Mr. Kassotis helped you into the residence, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Did he stay with you until your wife came home?
Yes.
And at some point, did he leave the residence during that time period?
Yes. Once she came home, he left to go see, he told us to go see Mindi.
Okay. And at that point, what was your expectation about Mindi? Was she coming home or staying at the hospital? What was it you believed was going to be going on?
I thought when she got better, she was coming back to the house.
Okay. And at that point, did Mr. Kassotis leave the residence?
Yes.
And where did you believe he was going?
To the hospital.
And at that point, what, if anything?
Here now to discuss national trial attorney Michael Jaffer. Michael, thank you for being on with both of us today. Great to see you. Listen, some of this just doesn't add up for me. You've got obviously a smart person, an attorney in the military, working at the Pentagon, JAG. And then you hear he has this secret Microsoft work, which requires a security team that the in-laws living with them never see, but have to have permission during certain times of the day to even come home to make sure it's safe to come home. Paranoid behavior, seemingly really good folk, the mother and father of the victim as they're testifying. You really like them. What is going on in this case, in your opinion?
I think that it's becoming kind of like a Rorschach test, right? If a person believes that he actually did this, then all of this behavior is compliant with him doing it. If somebody believes that he didn't do it, they could find any other reason that would justify this behavior and say, well, they can point to that and say, well, this shows clearly he was not premeditating the murder of his wife, right? So for me, I feel like there's a common theme, Judge Ashley. When I've advised clients in the past who didn't murder their wives, but were even just entertaining a divorce or a separation from their spouse, their behavior becomes very bizarre. And that's just a regular divorce. People report, and many experts will testify in divorce proceedings that, a person suffered depression, is already suffering depression, they've needed therapy. Just the physical separation between a husband and a wife is traumatic on people, let alone a person who's planning to murder a spouse, if he did this, right? So if in fact he did it, it would lend credence to the fact that his behavior showed signs of him building up to kill her. Because in my time, I don't remember a more qualified defendant in terms of covering up a murder than a former prosecutor. People don't understand how qualified you are as a prosecutor to cover up a criminal act if in fact he did do this. So, but that doesn't mean that he's not a human. Because he's a human, if he did do this, his behavior would become bizarre. He would become overwhelmed, decisions that he himself put on himself. So this evidence, I think it's lending credence to the fact that he planned her murder. That's how I'm seeing it. I'm thinking maybe the jurors will see it that way, but his behavior being so bizarre, just a number of times I've advised businessmen, business leaders, when they're entertaining a divorce, it's just their behavior becomes very bizarre.
Mike, you may have just answered the question for us, because we had been talking in the breaks, like, what could have happened to this guy? Was there a mental break? Maybe it's just like you said, this bizarre behavior, and you've seen it, you said, where folks are separating from each other, and they start acting crazy.
Crazy, different,
and
weird.
He's trying to avoid paying $1.5 million. Maybe that makes sense, based on what you said. All right, Mike, stand by. I do need to take a break right now. When we come back on the other side of the break, the victim's father is going to testify about the defendant telling him that his daughter had died. Tough to hear. We'll be back in a minute. Keep it here on Court TV.
Did he eventually tell you she died?
Yes, and he did not know he didn't know exactly what had happened. He said he'd been texting her all morning and she didn't answer, so he thought she was sleeping.
Okay. At that point, when he told you that she had died, did you have an opportunity?
Excuse me just a minute.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Ashley Wilcott.
And I'm Michael Ayala. It is day 3 of testimony in the dismembered wife murder trial of Mindi Kassotis going on in Georgia. Prosecutors claim that Nicholas and his wife, Mindi, were on the run to avoid paying a $1.5 million judgment to his ex-wife. Now, during that time, they say Kassotis met another woman and ended up killing Mindi. The defense agrees the couple was on the run, but contends it was because of a mystery man named Jim McIntyre, who identified himself as an FBI agent or affiliated with the FBI and told them that their lives were in danger.
Mindi's remains were found back in December of 2022, dismembered and scattered in several wooded areas in South Georgia. She was identified in May of 2023, and Kassotis was then arrested and charged with her murder. He was living in Pennsylvania at the time under another name. All right, let's go back in. Mindi's father, just seemingly so credible, sad, testifying about when the defendant told him that his daughter had died.
After he left for the hospital.
Well, he came back home and he told us that she had died.
Okay.
At the hospital.
Okay. Were you surprised?
Yes.
Okay. And at that point, did he tell you what happened?
Well, that's a little fuzzy for me, but I do remember that it had said something to do with her blood pressure and somebody had left the room, and when they came back, she had died.
You indicated earlier that Mr. Kassotis was an attorney, correct?
Correct.
Did he discuss with you his concerns about her death at the hospital?
No, he told us he was going to go back and find out what had happened.
So when he first came home on the 1st, he didn't know what happened?
All he knew was that she had died, and he was very upset.
But he had no answers about what happened at that point?
No.
Did he have any paperwork at all concerning her death?
No.
Did he ever provide you with any paperwork concerning her death?
No.
Did he ever explain to you what actions, if any, he was taking against the hospital, given what he had described to you?
No, he didn't.
Did Mr. Kassotis ever indicate to you which place that you could go and see your daughter after she passed?
No, that was never discussed.
Okay. Were you concerned where her body was?
I've given that a lot of thought. Being a minister, I know once someone dies, I know they've gone to be with the Lord, and I really didn't need to see her body. I wish I could have said goodbye, but after she was dead, it didn't. That wasn't her. So it was no reason for me to really clamor to go see her body.
Okay. Did you discuss with Mr. Kassotis the possibility of funeral services?
There was some discussion about a memorial service later on, but of course it had to do with the security.
So you weren't allowed to have a service initially because of security?
That's the way I understood it, yes.
Okay. Did you ever have a service?
No.
Did Mr. Kassotis ever give you a doctor's name that was attending to her during her pregnancy?
No.
Did he ever have doctors come to the house to attend to her?
No.
Did you ever see her again after you left for Thanksgiving?
No.
Did you ever exchange emails with people that you believed were connected to the security team?
Yes.
How did you get that email address?
If I remember correctly, I think they sent emails to me and then I sent them back.
So you replied, basically?
Correct.
Okay. So you weren't the one that initiated it?
No, I had no idea who to send it to until I got something.
Did you use regular email to send those?
Yes.
What email did you use?
My email address.
Is that like a Yahoo or a
Yahoo,
Google? Or
yes.
which is it? Yahoo?
Yes.
Okay. So you used your regular Yahoo to communicate with the security detail?
Correct.
Do you remember if Mr. Kassotis ever got a car?
Yes. At some point in time when we were at the house on 65th Street, he got a green Ford Explorer.
Okay. And do you know how he paid for it?
No.
Did you ever see a death certificate for your daughter?
No.
Medical records of any sort?
No.
After Mindi passed away, can you tell the jury what happened in the days right after she passed?
Well, a few days after, we had to leave the house on 65th Street, and we had to move to the condo that we went to in Hilton Head. We lived there for 3 months.
So from approximately December to March?
Yes.
Okay. How were arrangements made for you to stay at that location?
Nick made arrangements for us.
Okay. Did Mr. Kassotis stay with you?
No. No, he moved us. He helped move us over there because I just had the hip replacement. And we said goodbye, and he went back supposedly to the house. And
we need to take a break here. Up next, Mindi's father wraps up his testimony on direct examination. Of course, there'll be cross. Keep it here on Court TV Live.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, a brutal quadruple murder that led to an intense manhunt and an arrest of a convicted felon. Will bring you reaction from today's arraignment.
Closing Arguments, tonight at 8/7 Central, only on Court TV.
Saturday nights on ION is our night. Let's go! Double headers every Saturday at 7 and 10 p.m. Eastern. The new Saturday Night Out is on ION all season long.
He told us that she was in her room and she needed to go to the bathroom, so the nurses unhooked her from all of her equipment, and she went to the bathroom, and then the nurse got called away, and she went back and got into bed and had a stroke, and there was no one there. I mean, she wasn't hooked up, so that's supposedly what happened to her.
Did you believe him at the time?
Yes, I did.
How does that make you feel in hindsight?
Stupid, naive.
We're going to get you back to court in just a moment. First, though, we have updates in 3 other cases being tracked by Court TV.
In Georgia, Army officials updated the conditions of the 5 soldiers who were allegedly shot by a fellow soldier at Fort Stewart yesterday. 28-year-old Cornelius Radford is accused of using his personal handgun to shoot his co-workers. Army officials say 3 of the victims were released from the hospital yesterday, and 2 others remain hospitalized. So far, no motive has been released for the shooting.
In Minnesota, the man accused of assassinating a state lawmaker and her husband back in June has pled not guilty. Prosecutors say that Vance Bolter went on a murderous rampage with a list of 45 mostly Democratic lawmakers. Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark were shot and killed in their home. Bolter could face the death penalty.
And in Florida, accused murderer Donna Adelson will be back in court tomorrow for another hearing ahead of her upcoming trial. She's accused of being the mastermind behind a murderous plot to kill her daughter's ex-husband, Dan Markell, back in 2014. Her son, Charlie, is already serving a life sentence, along with 3 other people charged in connection with the case. Jury selection begins in Adelson's trial on August 19th. And of course, our Court TV cameras will be at tomorrow's pretrial hearing. We're going to bring you all of the developments right here on Court TV.
Right now, let's head back to Georgia. The father of the victim in the dismembered wife murder trial wraps up his testimony during direct examination.
Do you know if he actually went back to the house?
No.
Did you expect to speak with him again after he left?
Oh, yes.
Did you expect to see him again?
Yes.
Did you ever see him again?
No.
Did you speak to him?
Yes.
How many times?
We emailed or texted through Signal a lot, but we talked to him one time on the phone.
So the only time you heard his voice was that one time on the actual phone?
Correct.
Okay. And when you got to the condo complex, what was it your understanding that Mr. Kassotis was going to be doing at that point in terms of living arrangements?
Well, he told us that he was going to go actually to meet his real mother when he left us, and then that he would be closing up or finalizing some things, and he would be back down to Hilton Head.
Okay. In all the time that you knew Mr. Kassotis, did you ever know him to hunt?
No.
Did he own knives?
Not that I knew of, no.
Did he do some chores around the house?
Yes.
And specifically, what chores do you remember him doing?
The house at 65th Street, there was problems with the washing machine that he tried to fix. Toilet was backed up. We had terrible mosquitoes when we first moved in, and he did something with the mosquitoes.
When was the mosquitoes? You said when you first moved in?
Well, right around when we first moved in, yes. We had mosquitoes were coming in from somewhere.
And you moved in when? Do you recall?
June? I'm assuming, yeah, I think it was June of 22.
That was long before November, right?
Correct. Yes.
Prior to speaking to law enforcement, what did you think happened to Mr. Kassotis?
We were told that he had had an accident, that he was in the hospital. We didn't know where, and that he was on life support. And we tried to go see him. And then we got another email a day or two later that said he had died.
And that notification was received by email?
Yes.
Did anybody come to see you?
No.
Did you ever speak with his family concerning his death?
No.
And I just want to make sure I understand, his security team reached out to you and your wife after he was dead?
Correct.
Did you ask to see his body?
No.
Did they make arrangements for a funeral service for you to attend?
No.
All right, I want to bring back in National Trial Attorney Michael Jaffer to discuss. Mike, I got to ask you, you get somebody who comes into your office, you take a lot of big cases, and a guy is telling you this particular story, you know, the same story he's been telling these other folks. What do you do? I mean, do you immediately want to order some sort of mental health evaluation, or do you try to verify his story? What do you do?
First thing I do is I find out if they have enough money to hire an investigator, and I hire an investigator. If they don't hire an investigator, I just sit down and drill down with the client. Make sure you tell me the truth, because if there's any surprises, I'm quitting your case and you're getting convicted. So I drill down on that. And then sometimes you don't like the answers, but at least when a person's telling you the truth, they tell you the truth. But in a case like this, it would be very, very difficult either way, because this is very bizarre.
All right, so what do you do about the fact of the aftermath of these murders that your client allegedly committed, a murder rather, I'm sorry, of his wife? Because by the time they arrested him, which was really not that many months later, Michael, he has a different name and he's with a different woman and he's moved out of state. That doesn't look good for him.
Judge Ashley, my hunch is he did this because of what you just said. His behavior is so bizarre. I can't tell you how many times I've consulted with clients who have assets and are looking at a divorce, and they have the most off-the-wall ideas on how they can keep their money or how they can make the divorce less painful. To me, all of the behavior that they're exhibiting here, I know this case is purely circumstantial, it just seems right in line with somebody who's having a mental health defect related to what he wants to do and wants to separate from his spouse. It's just, that's my hunch. That's what the evidence is telling me so far.
Yeah, and we haven't even gotten to the point that his Mindi died in December. In February, he was with another woman. They got married in April.
Yeah.
So that's just something you just have to do. But there's a little thing that I want to touch on, Mike. It was asked of the father, asking about, hey, did you know of Nicholas to be a hunter? And he said no. And I think that's important because when you look at the way the dismemberment, in particular, took place in this case, it is certainly someone who is not familiar with cutting things. There are ways to cut things that you know if you're a hunter, right? You cut things at the joint. He's cutting folks through, or he cut his wife through the femur bone, the biggest, thickest, strongest bone in the body. So some of that may come into play in their closing argument.
Michael, you pointed out the most biggest answer that he had, and it stuck out to me like a sore thumb when I heard him say, when they asked him, do you know him to be a hunter? And he said no. Immediately I thought to myself, why are you buying a hunting knife? Hunting knives are expensive and they're very dangerous. There's no point in having a hunting knife. What a coincidence. You know, Occam's razor, the explanation that requires the least amount of assumptions is usually the right explanation. This seems to me like an Occam's razor's principle that he did all this stuff in order to murder her and cover it up. He's a former prosecutor. That's why this case is so circumstantial, but you can't cover up everything. We live in 2025. There's receipts for everything. And so that question on the hunting knife and the answer, that stuck out to me just like it stuck out to you.
All right, just quickly in the rest of our time, I want to know this. Do you think the only reason a person accused of cutting up a body and disposing of it throughout different areas does that to hope that that body gets eaten by animals and disappears?
The whole point is to show that he himself could not have possibly done this, that one person couldn't have done it, that there must have been multiple people, and that, like you said, animals will scavenge it and get it. But I'm sure he knew that was kind of like a dumb thing because there's more of a chance of one body getting found, one body part being found in another body. I think that was just dumb if you're trying to cover yourself up. So maybe this is part of the fact that he had a mental health breakdown and he just did something really stupid and idiotic. So maybe that's why.
I don't know, mental health breakdown. I'm waiting to hear what other evidence, but it sure feels something like that. Michael Jaffer, always great to have you. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right, folks, stick around. Coming up in our next hour, the father of Mindi Kassotis will be on cross-examination in the dismembered wife murder trial, and Court TV legal correspondent Kelly Craft is going to join us live from outside the courthouse. And the verdict clock is still ticking in the return mail murder trial of Jordan Palmer. The jury has been deliberating now for nearly 2 hours. We'll catch you up on the attorney's final arguments before the jury got the case. So keep it here on Court TV, your front row seat to justice. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Michael Ayala. Court TV cameras are covering the biggest cases across the nation. We begin in Georgia, where jurors heard from the victim's parents in the dismembered wife murder trial of Nicholas Kassotis. Now, he's accused of killing his wife, Mindi, back in November of 2022 and scattering her remains in a wooded area. Now, hunters found those remains and officials identified them months later. Now, during testimony today, the victim's mother, Betsy Mebane, she says that Nicholas told her that Mindi had died after he allegedly took her to the hospital because she wasn't feeling well. Now, she says the family never saw the body. And then months later, Mebane says that she was notified that Nicholas Kassotis had died in a terrible car crash. Court TV legal correspondent Kelly Craft joins us now live in Liberty County with a debrief.
Good evening to you, Michael. It was an emotional day of testimony right here in Hinesville, Georgia, at the Liberty County Justice Center. As the victim in the case, her parents took the stand as they described the bizarre details surrounding their daughter's death and then what they believe to be the death of their son-in-law. Let's take a listen.
And when he said she's not coming home, did you understand what he meant when he first said it?
No, not really. I mean, the way he was crying, I figured it was not good.
Okay.
So.
Did he eventually tell you she died?
Yes, and he did not know he didn't know exactly what had happened. He said he'd been texting her all morning and she didn't answer, so he thought she was sleeping.
Okay. At that point, when he told you that she had died, did you have an opportunity?
Excuse me, just a minute.
The mother there describing these details about finding out that her daughter had passed, saying that she now, in hindsight, realizes that she may have been a little naive and maybe gullible to believe what she had been told by her former son-in-law. Why don't we go ahead and listen to another bit of her testimony in which here she is describing now learning that her son-in-law also had passed.
At that point, did you believe that Mr. Kassotis had passed away and died?
I absolutely did.
Okay. Did you have communications with any of their friends and family concerning his death? Or was it with them? Sorry.
Well...
One sec, let me rephrase that.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you speak to anybody that you knew about his passing?
We called Cameron and her husband and told them, his friend Cameron, that they were both in their wedding.
Did you believe he was dead at that point?
Yes. So we were already grieving for Mindi, and then we were grieving for him.
Betsy Mebane then went on to testify that finally she was told that her son-in-law actually was not deceased by an investigator from Georgia. This trial continues tomorrow. Michael, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Kelly, thank you so much, as always, for that report. Right now, I want to take you folks back inside the courtroom. The jury is listening to testimony from Mindi's father. Now he's facing cross-examination by the defense.
Mr. Mebane, you said your last position after being a minister was being a financial advisor.
Correct.
What does a financial advisor do? Or what did you do as a financial advisor? Let me put it that way.
I had clients who I advised them about investments.
So investments in what?
Stocks, bonds, mainly.
And how did you have the knowledge base to be able to give that advice?
My undergraduate degree is in finance, and I had always, wherever I worked at churches or whatever, I did the financial part of the church. And I was recruited by Edward Jones Investments, and they trained strenuous training to how to pass the different tests that you have to pass to get different licenses to be a financial advisor.
So how many tests did you have to pass?
4.
And you said those tests were strenuous?
Yes.
So it seems like it's fairly complex work, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you'd have to be pretty smart, pretty knowledgeable in order to do that work, correct?
Correct.
When Nick and Mindi are having all of these security issues and Mindi is telling you about the security issues, you believed Mindi, correct?
Yes.
And you believe Nick?
Yes.
And you said that Mindi was afraid, isn't that right?
Yes.
Mindi also was a pretty bright woman?
Very bright.
Very bright. Why'd you say very bright?
Well, to get her master's degree, she had to have a high GPA And she was always in honors classes in high school and college and all that.
And so she was a very bright woman, but she was also afraid.
Correct.
And she told you about this security team, correct?
Yes.
Now, you said they a lot when referring to stuff, so I may try to get that clarified so that we can understand whether it was Mindi that told you things or Nick that told you things.
Okay.
You were told by them that you had to be out of the house from before lunch until about 3 o'clock. Was that Mindi that told you that?
I would say both of them told me that.
Okay. So while you were living together, is it fair to say every weekday from noon to 3, roughly, you were out of the house?
Yes.
So if people came in and out of the house during that noon to 3 time frame, you wouldn't know about it, correct?
No.
So doctors could have visited noon to 3, you wouldn't know about that?
No.
If members of the security team came by from noon to 3, you wouldn't know about that either?
No.
And you say Mindi is the one that told you about the Signal app, is that correct?
Yes.
And you would use that to communicate with Mindi and with Nick, right?
Yes, for a while, yes.
But text only, you never used the voice feature of Signal, correct?
No. Not that I remember, no.
Okay. Mindi told you that they were changing their name to Start for security reasons, correct?
Yes.
Did she say what the security reasons were?
Not that I recall, no.
Okay. What did you believe it to be?
I just thought it went along with everything else that we had been told for years, that they were in danger and that was going to protect them.
Okay. Jumping ahead a little bit to when you got back from the hospital on December 1st from your hip replacement.
Correct.
I believe that you testified that Nick took care of you that afternoon?
Yes, he helped me get up, go to the bathroom, things like that.
You don't have to get into graphic detail, but I understand what you're saying. Mm-hmm. And Nick remained with you until Betsy returned, correct?
Correct.
And then at that point, Nick left the house.
Correct.
Now, you say you never saw any paperwork relating to Mindi's death, correct?
Correct.
Did you ask to see any paperwork of Nick about the time of Mindi's death?
No.
You also were asked about a lawsuit, about Nick engaging in a lawsuit against the hospital. You had known Nick in 2022 for how long?
6 years.
Had you known him to be a litigious person? Had he been going around filing a bunch of lawsuits? As far as you know?
No.
Did he file any lawsuits prior to Mindi's death, as far as you know?
No.
Did you ask Nick, why aren't you suing that hospital?
No.
Were you on the phone when Frank IV was told about the death of Mindi?
No.
That was your wife that had made that call to Frank IV?
Yes.
Okay. What was Frank IV's occupation?
He's a policeman.
He's a policeman.
Yes.
Is he still a policeman as far
Yes,
as you
he
know?
is.
Where is he a policeman?
In Burnett Town, South Carolina.
And how long has he been a policeman for?
Over 20 years.
Okay. At one point, was Frank IV a policeman with, and I'm going to mangle this name, the Yemassee Police Department?
That's correct.
Am I saying that correctly?
That's right, yes.
And where is the Yemassee Police Department?
Yemassee is kind of right off of I-95 in between Savannah and Florence.
And was the chief of police at the Yemassee Police Department, was that Gregory Alexander?
Yes.
Who came to fame through the Murdaugh case?
Yes.
And he had worked for Chief Gregory Alexander, correct?
Correct.
He'd been fired from that position in 2007?
Objection, Your Honor. This has no bearing on the case at hand.
What would be the relevance, counsel?
The state is making a lot out of the fact that my client has prosecutorial and legal experience. So does Frank IV. He's very familiar with law enforcement as well.
It's irrelevant. The court's going to sustain the objection.
Okay. I have no further questions. Thank you very much, sir. And I'm very sorry for your loss.
All right, the defense taking a bit of a folksy approach with Mr. Mebane, and he was the last witness for the day before court went into recess. Jurors are set to return tomorrow for day 4 of testimony.